Well, hey, good evening, friends, or for those of you that catch us in the morning, good morning to you. For those that catch it on Monday, my name is Dennis LaRue, your executive and life coach with LDR. Leaders develop relationships. It's Sunday evening for me right now, and it is my favorite time of the week because there's Nellie. Hey, Nellie, good to see you. Because this is the hashtag steeltoesrequired quote of the week, and this is number 96. Every week, nearly every week, bring out a quote that has stepped on my toes, that has poked, that has prodded me, that has inspired, it's challenged me, it's taught me things, and then I share those lessons with you, lessons I've learned, and then interact with each other here because I'm a work in progress. Tonight's quote is one of those quotes that still steps on my toes. I came across it in 2012, 2013 from Laura Vanderkam, who wrote the book, The Most Successful People Do This Before Breakfast. There it is. The Most Successful People Do Before Breakfast. That's Laura Vanderkam. Great book. And I actually listened to this on audio during my Air Force career. We had a platform we could use where there were books. Matter of fact, there were John Maxwell books on that platform as well. So tonight's quote comes from Laura. She's big on productivity, big on time, and she points out that we all have the same amount of time, 168 hours a week, right? But here is her quote. Are you ready for it? Time is a choice. That's the quote. Time is a choice. Boy, you know what? Nothing earth-shattering about that quote, is it? It's just in your face. It's plain hard truth. And again, I talked about the fundamentals recently. This is pure fundamental. Time is a choice. Now, when I think of this, time being a choice, it takes me back to the Twilight Zone. And I may have even shared this before, but it's my favorite Twilight Zone. Burgess Meredith, who played Mickey in the Rocky series, Rocky's coach, was a voracious reader. He read everything, and he worked in a bank. Well, during his lunch break, in a bank vault, he's reading, and the end of the world happened. The world's blown up, and he's the only one left. And he spends the entire episode wandering around and finally comes across his favorite place to be, the library, and finds books, and books upon books upon books. And now he has time to read all the books he wants to do without any responsibilities whatsoever in the world. And he pauses for a moment, and he stumbles, and his glasses fall off, and they break. And he cries out, but there was time now. There was time now. It's my favorite because he wanted to do something that he loved so much. And now he had all the time in the world left in his life to do it, and now he couldn't do it because he didn't have glasses anymore. And it makes me think of us when it comes to time. Eric, I saw that. Time is a choice. How you spend your time is a choice. We all say that we need more time. When I talk to people all the time, a lot of people ask for two things they wish they had more of: time and money. Time and money. Now, money, you can generate more of. Time, you can't generate more time. We all have the same amount of time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, yada, 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 168 hours. But let me ask you for just a second, that God granted our wish for 1 hour of time. 1 hour. What would you do with that 1 hour? Post that in the comments. If you were granted 1 extra hour, you were given a 25-hour day. What would you do with that 1 extra hour? What would you do? Hey, Susan, how are you? Diane, I saw you there. Clint, what's going on? So what would you do with that 1 hour? Maybe some of you would... Clint, I love it. He said he'd spend it with his son. Nellie, exercise. Outstanding. So Go for a walk. Absolutely. Maybe somebody would take a nap, get a little extra sleep. Hey, Holly. So, some would spend it on a hobby. How many of you would spend it at work on a project? You might do that. But what would you do with that hour? Now, here's what I want to ask you now. Spend time with my dogs at the water. Awesome. Love that, Diane. I don't think many people with that extra hour would spend it at work. But let me ask you this. What I'm hearing from these things that were posted, those are important to you. So that 1 hour that you would spend, if you had the extra hour, what came to your awareness, those of you that shared? May I ask why you're not doing them with the available hours you have? You've got 168 hours. Maybe some of you are doing that. That's an assumption on my part. But if you're not, why not? Because there's a reason that hour is important to you. You see, time is a choice. How you spend your time is a choice. What you do with your time is a choice. It's your priorities. How are you prioritizing your day? Looking at your calendar this week. Looking at your calendar this week and what you would do with an extra hour, what would be something you would take out of your current week this week? If you were to look at your calendar and say, you know what, I don't really want to do this, why are you doing it? Now, for those of you that work, if you go to work 5 days a week to celebrate those 2 on the weekend, now, you know, if you're saying, well, I would trade all of that, that's a different story altogether. Rick, what's going on? I love that, Diane. Thank you for sharing that. Life takes over, responsibilities, etc., but I'm so much better at prioritizing than I used to be. Hey, Ron, how are you, my friend? Yeah, I'm in the same boat, Diane. I don't have this all figured out, okay? Truth be told, stepping on my own toes here, I don't have this figured out. I'm better than I used to be, but I've got a long way to go in prioritizing my week, because I'll chase rabbits, I'll get caught by shiny object syndrome, I'll cram in a last second thing, and the next thing you know, I'm making choices, making decisions with my time that's impacting more valuable use of my time. But when we get to the end and we're out of time, what are we going to regret? What are those things that we're going to regret that we wish we'd had invested time in? And what are we doing to get there? What are we doing to prioritize our time and create those systems, those getting into, maybe it's that dream job, maybe it's getting to that dream retirement mode, whatever that is for you. What are you doing to get there so that you don't get to the end and say, I wish I would have, I wish I could have? Yes, I'm with you, Diane. I agree 100% there, because you have much more control of your time because you're not in corporate. Yes, being an entrepreneur, running your own business definitely has its benefits in that areas, and I wouldn't trade that. That's valuable. That is so valuable. But for those of you that are in corporate, what are you doing with your time in the morning? What do you do with the break time that you have? What are you doing with your time in the evening? What are you doing with the time on your weekends? How do you spend it? How do you prioritize it? How do you categorize it? How are you investing that time? Now, Diane and I and many of you that watch us, we get the privilege of investing into people's lives, and to some degree, to a great degree, I don't look at that as any wasted time whatsoever. Investing in others is a privilege. It's a pleasure. It's an honor and a privilege. It's a calling. But there's other things that we have to get it done too. I mean, those of us run our own businesses, we've got to put systems in place to run that business, and we got to do those things that we need to do in order to keep that business running. The things that we want to do outside of hobbies. What is that? Self-care. Nellie pointed out going for a walk. Self-care. Health and wellness. We've got to take care of those things as well. And trying to fit all of that into a week is just, it's mind-boggling. I think of also, those at higher levels. Maybe right now football season is back in play, college, pro, and I know these coaches are putting in 20 hours a day, and they're going to be doing that for a very long time. And they've got systems and processes and things in place. But I wonder when they get to the end, when they get to the end, what is it they're going to regret? Some of the coaches are able to spend time with their families and do the things that they want to do, but others may be struggling with that. But all of us have the same amount of time. What are you doing to maximize your time? What are you doing to maximize your investment? And what are you doing to maximize his investment in you with time? Because there's no guarantee we're going to be here tomorrow. There's no guarantee we're going to be here next week for the next episode of Steel Toes. There's no guarantee we're going to get to those conferences, those vacations that we've got planned down the road, holidays and whatnot. And I don't say that to scare you, and I don't say that to put fear in you. I say that to get you to think, what would you do differently with your time? And I confess right now, I probably wasted at least an hour scanning videos on Facebook and sports videos. Confess that right now. That's an hour that I can't get back. That's right, Eric. Is time a choice, or how we use the time a choice? Well, time is time. And the choice is, how do you use it? Because time doesn't stop. How you use your time is a choice. We often ask for more time. What do we want more time for? To make choices, to do more things, or to do things that we haven't done because we've wasted time doing other things we should have done. How many of us, how many of us get excited when the clock falls back and we supposedly get an hour? What do we do with that hour that we supposedly get back? Sleep in? What do we do with that extra hour? And how many of us complain when we move forward an hour with the time change? How we use our time is a choice. Exactly, Eric, I'm with you. Is time a choice, or how we use the time a choice? How we use it is the choice. Time is time. So what are you doing with your time? What change are you going to make this week? What's jumping into your mind right now, this moment, that you need to address? Maybe some of you are going to be looking at your schedules as you get ready to call it a night. What will you do differently? Or what will you add? What will you take away? Where will you spend your time? Where will you spend your 168 hours this week? What will you do? And then, how can we help one another? How do you in that time frame, you've got your calendar planned out. You've got it maximized. Maybe you even do what I do. Put a little white space in the calendar. I put a little bit of white space in the calendar for a meeting that may go longer, or an opportunity to leave a space for a last second phone call, or you know what, I fill it in and read a book. Just that float time. But I don't know how many times you get that phone call last second that says, you know what, I can't make our meeting today. Boom, you got an hour. What do you do with it? What's next? What fills in that gap there? Sometimes I don't know what fills in that gap. I'll confess it right now. Sometimes that happens. What do you do? What do you do in those moments? Or what do you do in those moments where you got a nice day planned out and it goes haywire? How do you use that time? What choices do you make in those moments? How do you maximize those moments? Now, I know I've asked a ton of questions tonight, and a lot of them. So go back and watch over this. And if some of these questions resonate with you, go answer these questions and work through it. I think this all lines up to why you do what you do. What is your purpose? What is your dream? What is your calling? And how does your time fit in? How are you prioritizing your time into your dream, calling, and purpose? How are you using that time to fit in with, say, your family, or the other areas of your life that you're working through. Because again, it's a choice. You see, even if we were given the gift of more time, based on the way you spend your time, or should we be given that time? Would it just be more time wasted? Would it be put to good use? And what changes would you make if you were given more time? And then turn right around here. Here's the last thing. Whatever those changes you want to make, what are you waiting for? When are you going to make those changes so you can do them now? Because they're obviously important to you now. That's why they popped up. Exercise and spending time with family and those things. Some of you are already doing that. But some of you maybe are not. So rather than wait for that extra time that's not coming, why don't you take charge of your choices of use of time and start doing the things that are important to you? I know the hardest thing for me to say, and it may be hard for some of you too, is saying no to things. Everything looks like an opportunity, but if you know where you want to go, be able to weed out those things that are great opportunities, good opportunities, and better opportunities. And some that are distractions. Which are those for you? Take time this week to sort through that. Take hold of your time. Maximize your time. Prioritize your time, because more time isn't coming. You have 168 hours in the week. Grab the bull by the horns and maximize your time the way you want it to be, to the best of your ability. And that, my friends, is your Steel Toes Required quote of the week. Now, the action step for you is look at your calendar. Look at the choices you're making. Where do you want to spend more time? Make the necessary adjustments and do it. And just do it. And with that, close with the blessing. I pray the blessing of bread that you know no hunger. I pray the blessing of salt, that your life would be full of flavor and that you would be adding flavor to other people's lives. And I pray the blessing of wine, that joy and prosperity would be yours, and that the love of God would be your portion this day and forevermore. Thank you for spending time with me this evening. All of you that popped in, names that are popping up, Bridget and Ryan, thank you so much. Thank all of you for spending time with me this evening. I hope this helped you create pockets of time that you can use to reinvest in you and into others, and to make your life and other people's lives better. Take care, friends. This is Dennis LaRue with your hashtag Steel Toes Required quote of the week. Blog will be up soon. Appreciate all of you. Have a great one. Take care. Bye for now.